Hi, you silly gooses. Oh my god. Yay!
No.
If you made any assumptions just now, and you are ashamed of yourself, now knowing that what you got is a real brother on your hands,
That's right.
then you can alleviate your shame by liking the video, by subscribing to your boy's channel, and clicking on that bell to join the notification squad. Hey, yo, that's your fault. If you're if you're ashamed, that's on you. Okay?
Why you bullying me?
You subscribe to your boy's content. Let's talk about this video series real quick. Well, you're here for the best swing of things for Wano country fights, where Oda outperformed, where Oda actually pulled some genius level moves, and the best stuff that Wano country and Onigashima has to offer in terms of the fights. This is part 3, the finale of the series. So I did 2 videos before, one on the worst swing of things, like where Oda underperformed, continuity issues, and so on and so forth. And then the first video was the video about Roof Peace, the great, the fantastic, the amazing, and the flat out bad. The flat out bad of Roof Peace. You can check those all out, links in the box below. So a few rules before we get started on the upside of things here. Number 1 is that we will not be looking at the ongoing Luffy versus Kaido fight because it is ongoing. How can we grade a test before the students are done with the test? We can't do it, obviously. That's number 1. Number 2 is that we are not going to be gauging the Oden flashback fights because a lot of those were like one clash, one dink, pink, that's it. So no, all right. Number 3, no anime content, only the manga. Very important here because there are some big differences here in the fights between the manga and the anime. For the most part, I'd argue in the anime, better. However, nonetheless, only the manga when it comes to this video series. That's number 3. And number 4, finally, I will not be gauging, for the most part, the Big Mom versus Law fight featuring Kid. No. No, 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 no. I have done a lot of videos, reactions, topics on that fight, and I'm done with that fight. In a general sense, Law is Superman. He's Kal-El with the big S on his chest. Kid is Robin from Teen Titans, where his main villain is Slade. Potentially he's Beast Boy, whatever. And Big Mom for a Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm cool with that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, on that note, let us get to the upside of things, where Oda overperformed and at some points was just plain genius. And I'm going to start here in a very surprising way, not on Onigashima. That's right. Because I think, honest to God, that Luffy versus Kaido, Part 1, Chapter 922 and 23, the Baby Shake chapters, I think to date is still one of the best fights in this arc. And you may say, oh, well, hold on, wait, hold on, time out. It was a one-shot, therefore not a full fight. That's kind of cap. Because Zoro versus who? Mr. One. That was also a one-shot, and most folks would say, hey, that was a full fight. And I agree. Kaido versus Luffy is a full fight. And this fight, to date, is one of the best fights in this arc. It is absolutely outstanding, because it sets the tone in such a masterful way. In the past, we have seen Luffy get throttled by the big bad guy at the beginning or the middle of an arc, so i.e. Crocodile. Crocodile rolled through Luffy, and it was shocking and stunning and jarring in so many ways. But Kaido, compared to Crocodile, just felt worlds different, galaxies, universes different than Crocodile. Because Kaido was unfazed by Luffy at Luffy's forte, raw power and strength, while drunk, while drinking sake. That was Kaido in all of that. And Luffy couldn't do anything to him. Big Mom blocked Luffy's attack in Whole Cake Island with Haki when he was in Gear 4. But Kaido just felt truly insurmountable. When Kaido one-shotted Gear 4 Bound Man with one attack, everyone in the fandom, even if you weren't a One Piece fan, you felt that. You felt that. Non-One Piece fans felt that one attack. The first Thunder Bagua ever sent ripples across the anime, the entertainment fandoms across the world. That's how nasty it was. Because we saw the gap between Luffy and Kaido was 3 oceans wide. It was very different than Crocodile and Luffy. When Luffy was still yelling at Crocodile, getting mad at Crocodile, talking smack after he beat him the first time, when he was getting sucked into the sand. Or let's say Rob Lucci in Water 7, when Luffy got hurled into 2 buildings. I think it was kicked into 2 buildings by Rob Gucci. But Luffy was fine, ultimately speaking. Luffy in that fight against Kaido, despite Luffy's growth in the previous arcs, despite the training for 2 years, Luffy's fight against Kaido, it was shameful.
Damn.
A man challenged a god, and he was snuffed into oblivion in one shot, right? He was smited. Smited! It was so different. The vibe, the feel, the tone was so different. It's probably the reason why Act 1 of Wano Country was actually a pretty damn strong act. So yes, the first Baby Shake absolutely must be regarded as one of the better fights in this arc, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now,
Let's do this.
The best finale in Wano so far goes to Robin versus Black Maria. I was super impressed with Robin and her new Demonian Flutter form. Oh my god. I don't know if it's like an awakening on her part to make that Demonian Flutter state. I have no idea. But her beating Black Maria, confirmed by Vivid Regards, the second highest bounty among the Flying Six. That's right. Who's Who is number 1. Black Maria is number 2 at 480 million berry bounty. That's correct. And Robin one-shotted her. One-shotted her. Albeit, it was tough. There was some back and forths where Robin tried to one-up Black Maria, but every time she got thwarted. The Mary Apprehend, the Orient Knuckles got thwarted every time. But when she pulled off the Fishman Karate and got that Demonio Jacuzzi clutch, oh. Best finisher in a fight so far. Yes. And then also, going into that fight, I love the assists that Sanji gave Robin, because Sanji can't fight women, and here Robin is taking over the reins. Very similar to what happened with Nami in NES Lobby, where Sanji can't attack women, obviously, and so Nami takes over the fight for Sanji, and in this case, Robin takes over, but to like the next level. And in the future, because she actually knows now, confirmed Fisher Karate, I'm hoping that we see her use that more often, especially now that we know that Oyabun Jinbei-kun is on board. He can show her the ropes in a late night session. Hashtag fished. So yes, Nami does get some big buffs in this arc, but Robin maintaining dominance as the strongest female on the crew. Until Yamato joins the crew, which of course is an if, but that's possible. And speaking of which, Yamato versus Kaido, extremely impressive on our part to stall Daddy K for how long as she did. Now, granted, I think some folks take it a little bit too far to say like she's top 10 in the verse just by stalling Kaido, since it was very clear, mind you, that Yamato was doing very little to Kaido, if anything at all. Considering how Law could damage Kaido in earnest, how Zoro scarred Kaido, how Luffy got Kaido on his back consistently. It was very clear that Yamato wasn't really doing much to Kaido at all. Chapter 1025 is very particular of this as well. So she was very impressive, did counter a few of his moves, true. And there's also, very important here, there's also an elemental counter as well with her ice powers and his fire powers. And so yes, Yamato was damn dope as all hell, but if she joins the crew, I think for the most part, she is not the Vegeta to Luffy's Goku. Because that spot, or I should say, those spots are reserved for the wings.
Not the cap.
Wings of the King of Pirates, Zoro and Sanji. And that has been a recurring theme I love seeing because it validates what I've been saying for so damn long. The wings of the King of Pirates, Zoro and Sanji. And both of their fights that we see in this arc, Onigashima Wano Country, are the best fights that they've had in the post-time skip, I think, easily. Not only did both of their fights last several chapters long, spaced out within chapters, and does quite a bit, to say the least, for a particular character, but it does quite a bit for their characters as well. Both Zoro and Sanji's main fights, I think, my personal opinion here, of course, both Zoro and Sanji's main fights, I think, are better than Big Mom versus Law featuring Kid, which I think is better than Jinbei versus Who's Who, in case you're wondering. It's not better than Luffy versus Kaido Part 1. Now, that may be a bold-ass claim. Fair enough. Because again, I have my gripes. I have my massive, major, mammoth gripes with that fight. I definitely do. So, Zoro had the second best finisher in all the finishers in Wano Country thus far. Number 2 behind Robin. And of course, the full name, the King of Hell, 3-Sword Serpent, 103 Mercies, Dragon Damnation. That is... Oh... Jesus, Zoro, just keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
3-Sword style Dragon Damnation. Done. Why are there 103 mercies? Why is it a 3-Sword Serpent? Why the King of Hell? The man thinks he's Makoto Shishio. Wow, Zoro. Okay, but I'm playing because it was clearly amazing. It was dope as all hell, that finisher. And honest to God, seeing Zoro struggle for the first time in a one-on-one fight, of course outside of his fight against Denjiro in the post-time skip, was a very nice change of pace because it does solidify just how strong the Beast Pirates were and just how strong Zoro needs to be in order to beat someone like King the Wildfire. He needs something brand new, brand spanking new, baby, from not only himself but mainly, and keeping it in the buck, it is what it is, Enma. Enma is the most broken sword I've ever seen in One Piece by far and away. We are probably gonna find out more about Yoru. Of course, the blade, its personality, that kind of stuff. But I'm not too sure if even Yoru comes close to Enma. It's just hard to imagine even supreme grade quality blades having the personality, having the added bonuses and features that Enma has. Enma is just on a whole new level of dumb. And Zoro got potentially the best sword we've ever seen in the series, at least in terms of what it can actually do, by far. It's ridiculous. There's so many added buffs, and Odin's beloved blade, that's even a chapter, confirmed by Kozaburo himself, the greatest blade he's ever made. And he made Wado Ichimonji. So at the bare minimum, Enma is absolutely better than Wado Ichimonji, confirmed by the blacksmith that made him. It's ridiculous. And honestly, taming Enma is probably gonna take some time. Like, even after this arc, it's gonna take some time to actually tame and rein in Enma, to make it into like a full black blade. Unless the Grim Reaper death is actually Enma, and then that's actually the process to get a black blade and so on and so forth and yada yada. Who knows? Who knows? But Zoro came out the gate pretty damn beastly. Conqueror's Haki Infusion Zoro, overcoming King of the Wildfires. But King of the Wildfire himself was also pretty dope as well, because it was really intriguing seeing King the Wildfire not rely on haki so much. It was the Imperial Fire that mattered the most for King the Wildfire. The ability of the ancient Lunarian race that does get the lore gland salivating, absolutely. What is the deal with the ancient Lunarian race who apparently existed in the place where Whitebeard said long ago was the land of gods? What is going on? Oh, we have so many questions now when it comes to Lunarians, when it comes to land of gods. Does it tie to the moon? Fairy verse? What about God Valley? The land of God, God Valley? Ooh, the lore gland salivate because of how interesting and intriguing King the Wildfire was in terms of his origin and his race. And that was the most important thing for Zoro to actually overcome King the Wildfire, knowing what King the Wildfire was. Despite the Conqueror's haki buffs, despite the Enma bond, it was actually understanding what King the Wildfire's abilities work like, what his race was, to actually overcome King the Wildfire. Now, to be fair, because Zoro's, Zoro, seeing the color of the skin of King the Wildfire's race, that did give Zoro a haki buff. In of itself, it did give Zoro a haki buff.
Stop it.
But even more important than that was obviously the Charmeleon fire on his back. Whether it was off or on, that dictated the actual fighting style that King would utilize, which allowed Zoro to get the hits he needed to defeat King. And I thought that was very, very good on Zoro's part. A rare high IQ play from the Moss Head. So the fight was dope and I really liked it a lot. But I ain't gonna lie. For the fight in chapter 1035, it got me tripped up a few times. Yeah, I will not, again, Honest Abe, all right? Scouts honor, is that a thing? Scouts honor. Whatever the scouts do, okay? I am not gonna lie to you. You can even go back and watch the reactions. I was tripped up on so many things that happened in that chapter where I just didn't know what was going on stylistically. In terms of arc and pacing and paneling, there were several panels that I thought were very odd, hard to tell what was going on. So an example was that I really thought that Zoro had fired off 3 Black Lightning bolts from range to cut the giant Imperial Dragon. And when I finally did notice that Zoro was on the last panel near King the Wildfire, I was too sure if he was actually underneath King the Wildfire, behind King the Wildfire, or if it was, let's say, a proximity thing and he was closer to us, the readers. So a lot of these panels and pages did require like a few read-throughs, 1 read-through, 2 read-through, 3 read-through, to actually kind of sort out what was going on. And honestly, to be quite frank, there are still some things I don't know what really has gone down. So, for example, middle of page 8, after King's volley of fireballs, is King doing a barrage of wing attacks or a super close range volley or moving his wings to try and do a pincer on Zoro? I don't know. Or on that same page, when we see that break apart from Zoro and King the Wildfire, is Zoro hitting away King the Wildfire, or is it a dual break and they're both being sent back? I'm not too sure. Or at the bottom of page 12, when Zoro fends off King the Wildfire's swords, was he using Conqueror's haki to push King the Wildfire back? I've seen so many different takes on what the hell Zoro did there. Was arm haki clash and a swing? Did King the Wildfire back off because he actually sensed an attack? I don't know. I don't know. So basically, I have to rely on the anime to fill in those gaps, hopefully in the future, to clear up those things for me personally. Which is why, even though I dig the Zoro versus King the Wildfire fight, me personally, it's one of the reasons why I prefer, flat out, the Sanji versus Queen fight over the Zoro versus King the Wildfire fight. Now, that's from a manga perspective, number one. In the anime, that may change, because I think that Zoro has a better finisher than Sanji's finisher, for damn sure. But everything else with Sanji's fight, it is absolutely masterful. Not only do I have no issues of perceiving what's going on or not going on, so the fight stylistically, I think, for the Sanji fight with Queen, is actually overall drawn better and paced better than the Zoro fight, outside of the finisher and outside of the artwork and how it's drawn and the pace of the fight. What Sanji did, and what Oda did with Sanji. Wow. It's masterful. It's genius. It well above my expectations. Was Sanji's fight meme-ish? Yes, in a lot of ways it was. But it was by far the most personal and the most character-driven fight among all the fights so far. It was the fight that has the most substance of all the fights thus far in the entirety of Wano country. Sanji beating Queen wasn't just a statement of his power, but in the process, Oda had created definitively the best written character in the series. I'll say that again. Definitively.
Goddamn right.
I thought it was an absolutely fantastic and great character growth moment for Sanji when Sanji wore the raid suit when he fought against Page 1. Him destroying the raid suit was on a whole new level of character growth that I absolutely couldn't imagine coming. And then on the heels of that, never would I think that Sanji could actually beat a Yonko commander while nerfing himself. He nerfed himself and beat a commander. Hey, yo! Nah. Oh my god. Oh my god. That just floored me. Extraordinarily impressed with Oda's writing for Sanji. Because for him to maintain his sense of self as his body was transforming into what he feared the most from his own body's transformation, being like his brothers, cold, emotionless, heartless, but excellent warriors of science. And him throwing away the very thing that was transforming his body, the raid suit, but it also granted him one of his long desired dreams, the dream of invisibility. He threw it away. It's one thing for a character, like we've seen the tribes do a lot of times, to sacrifice their dreams for the sake of their captain. It's something else when he's also doing the same thing for his captain, in part true, but also for his own sense of self. He had the dream in his hands and he threw it away because him being himself was far more important, no matter the cost. This is why it was impossible, in no matter what situation, for Sanji to attack a woman. Even in Enies lobby, he could at most threaten a woman like Caulifla to save a friend, but not attack a woman, while his body was transforming into something that he truly feared, that his mother, Sword, died for, essentially, to at least have one of her own children maintain a human heart and regular human emotions. He sacrificed a dream and a substantial amount of power in the process. It is by far and away one of the best moments in the whole post time skip, and will probably be that way for a very long time. This is on top of the Queen side of things, where this man had all of Germa's moves for his final hurrah. He had the Sparking Queen, the Henry Queen, the Wench Queen. He even had Stealth. He had style, baby! And it shows you the issues that both Queen and Sanji had with Vince Smoke Judge manifesting in their own ways during the fight. But Sanji threw it away, whilst Queen embraced it. And as a result, you can argue Queen lost that fight as one of the core representations of their issues with Vince Smoke Judge. It's genius. And then on top of that, knowing that Sanji was actually doing damage to Queen for the entire fight, they were trading very fairly, even though Queen was getting up and laughing. No, it was all a front, because the man was taking damage for the entirety of their battle. And when he finally unleashed his very new Ifrit Jambe, that final play, spicy as all hell, the culmination of him standing up to not only his father's way of life and his father's way of doing things, but also solidifying what Sora had sacrificed her life for. The Ifrit Jambe just encompasses all of that in one fell swoop, and justifying who he is, because Osom wasn't attacked by him, she was attacked by Queen in that final hurrah with even hotter flames, even greater passion. Being one of the major sources of his power, Sanji delivers the both best, and then he sends this brother Queen packing in a space like Cars from JoJo's Part 2, and the man stopped thinking.
His body turned hard as rock, and he floated through space for the rest of time, never to return. He wished for death, but there was nothing out there to kill him. The spark of thought within him went dim, and then silent.
Sanji versus Queen is my second favorite fight in the entire arc so far, after Ruth Peace. Yes. So that's my take. That is my final take on the Wano country fights so far. Shoutouts to Zoro versus his true arch nemesis, the Heracles Beetle dude in the Armored Division, number 1. And number 2, big shoutouts to Marco versus King and Queen, going back and forth like a stud, like an absolute phenom. And let's not forget here that there is one last fight to get to, a fight that is on pace to surpass them all. Luffy versus Kaido. The finale is just on the horizon.